5'7" guy standing in front of him, and they accomplished it. But said if they had had anyone even contesting that pass to him, he doesn't get it off.
Well, although there's, I read an ungodly amount of analysis of that play, unfortunately. And, there's a school of thought that says, based on that, there was only 0.3 seconds, the inbounds passer is out of the play. There's no way that inbounds passer can take a shot.
5-on-4.
Once he passes, it's 5-on-4. So why guard the inbounder? Why not put 5 guys on 4 players? And guard the court? And that's where I blame Stevens. I would say got to be 70-80% of the blame. But look, Jalen allowed himself to get hung up with Gasol on a pick that he didn't, that he should have avoided and get out there faster. But look, here's the good news. The Celtics finally got past it in game 5. They didn't get past it in game 4. We're still talking about it. I don't think the Celtics are thinking about it anymore.
Well, I think I'll credit Stevens in game 5
totally
to stop. He was reacting to those high school defenses that Nurse kept throwing out there, and it would stop Stevens in his tracks, and he'd stop, he'd timeouts and try to attack it. Instead, he just went and played his game in the game 5, and that was the way to do it.
Well, as Jaylen Brown goes, so goes the Celtics. Every time this season that he has scored 25 or more points, they are 15-0.
Really?
So, really. We're talking about Jaylen Brown making that mistake in game 3. He played really well in game 5, played poorly in game 4. I think that's the indicator right now. If Jaylen Brown plays well, the Celtics will go to the conference final.
I do want to talk about Walker's magnificent play, though, at the end of the game we did lose. Because that was a Larry Bird type pass to spring Tice for the dunk. That was Bird-esque. I mean, if we're going back to the Bird era, that highlights being played over and over again. That pass to win game 3. I mean, that was the game winner.
If they win game 3, absolutely, because everybody
thought Larry Bird pass.
Well, it was a great pass, but he got himself trapped when he shouldn't have by over dribbling and got trapped.
Joe just there's no room in Joe's world for any sort of vulnerability or fallibility.
Well, no, Russ, go back and watch that in the 2 previous possessions. Tatum and Kemba both got trapped before. They should have known it was coming.
But he overcame triple defense against him.
He made a magnificent play to
all I compare it to is Larry Bird. I mean,
but Joe, Kemba shoots, gets it blocked or something. He never. Excuse me, Kyrie never does anything but gets a shot blocked at that moment. Kemba had the wherewithal to make a great pass to Tice for the basket.
Exactly. That was the only way he was getting out of that trap, and he found the way.
They were expecting, us to see the third time that he would do the, fake the drive and step back and pop just like he did against Horford, and he did the other time. And
they were waiting for that.
Yeah. And
they stopped that. They weren't biting on that.
Well, I want to go back to, you talked about Brad in game 5, and I thought game 5 was really as much about leadership as it was about anything else, honestly. And it had to come from Brad, and it had to come from Smart, and it had to come from Kemba. And really that was, because you could have argued that the Celtics were front runners. They won the first 5 games of the playoffs last year, started losing Milwaukee and rolled over.
Yeah.
And we won the first 6 games of the playoffs this year, and we lost 2 games. And I was like, maybe these guys are front runners. Maybe Brad's not a wartime coach.
Yeah, right.
I thought they did really well. They stopped worrying about the box and 1 and the 2-2-1 and the 1-3-1 and just went out and played their game.
It's kind of like a boxer. What do you do when you get hit? Like Mike Tyson. What did Mike Tyson do when finally somebody hit him back, Yeah,
absolutely. You see the 2. And look, they came out early in game 5 and set the tone. And that was the most important thing. What were they going to do? Were they going to lay over? All right, boys. Look, there's never been more discussion about a player in Boston sports history that has done as little as Gordon Hayward, Grandpa Gordon Hayward. But I will give you this. that the Celtics will not win an NBA championship unless Grandpa Gordon is back and in the rotation, because it can't be 5 guys and Brad Wanamaker, Mason Terrace's own.
Yeah,
How
said.
How does a guy that's over the hill and terrible have any effect on a team, Scotty?
It gives you depth. They have no depth right now.
Absolutely, Timmy. They literally have no one. Hayward comes in there and he can run the point. He can get some baskets. They need him, and they definitely need him even in the next series against the Heat, who are very deep.
10 deep. Tatum and Brown need a rest. They can't go 40 minutes a game every game.
I think you're right, Scott, in that he's another long player for his position, and he can handle the ball, and he allows Kemba to play off ball. He allows Tatum to play a little bit more off ball and not have to create every shot on his own, and he can penetrate into these defenses and kick it out. It'd be great to have him back. Hopefully they win tonight and there's a little bit of a break, but I'm worried the NBA is just going to keep running these series back to back because they just want the TV.
Yeah, that's a great point.
They have to wait for the West to catch up to them.
I don't know, Joe. They didn't wait for Toronto. They didn't wait for anybody to start this Toronto series.
Yeah.
Well, that's a great point. The ref factor tonight. I mean, the refs are just bad. No matter what game you're watching, they're terrible. It doesn't matter what team you root for. They're horrendous. You're going to have to win by 10 points because of the ref factor tonight.
I think you're right. I don't think they necessarily favor one side or another. I just think they're incompetent.
Yep.
Well, they certainly don't like Tice.
Oh.
And the irony is that the refs can be yelled at and influenced like no other referee.
Everyone's human. If the crowd is on you, you're going to call it the other way.
Well, LeBron was yelling at him last night. They literally just changed the call because
did they really?
Yeah, they just he was yelling. He was really at him, and he was scaring the shit out of me in Brookline. But yeah, they weren't having anything because they have nowhere to hide. I mean, they're going to see him at dinner time. So they're like, okay, cool, LeBron, we'll do whatever you want. All right, boys.
You would hope
changing the call on Giannis the last game of the year.
You would hope that got to this level would be immune to that, but I guess everyone's still human no matter what level you get to.
So predictions, Timmy, Celtics win tonight?
I think the Celtics are clearly the better team. I think the Celtics roll tonight.
Joe?
Celtics, not a blowout like last time, but a comfortable 7-8 point win.
Rusty boy?
Heart says Celtics, head says like 3 to 5 point loss.
So you're going to loss. All right. And Celtics are going to win. We're going to go to the Eastern Conference Finals. And then I get to trash fucking Kelly Olynyk and Jay Crowder for at least 10 days. We're going to relive every moment they ever spent in a Celtics uniform. I despise both of them greatly. All right, go to the Patriots.
At least they're not starters anymore. At least they're where they belong, coming off the bench.
Kelly's still sporting the man bun?
I think he is, yeah. At $15 million a year, Timmy, he makes.
He can't afford a barber yet.
It's a good country. All right, boys, we go to the Patriots, and I cannot believe we're saying this, that the New England Patriots are going to play on Sunday when all those top players for the Patriots, the Hightowers of the world, were opting out. I thought for sure there was never going to be a season. But it's happening on Sunday. We're playing the Dolphins. We're 6.5 point favorites, and it's all about Cam Newton right now, right?
You have to be, because if you've looked at that 53-man roster, that's the sorriest roster I've seen in 30 years for a Patriots team.
Yeah, that's a great point, Joe, because the Patriots cut 17 guys, and for the first time for forever, not one of those guys was picked up or even put on a practice squad.
Hang on. There are only 17 guys total in the NFL who were signed after the cuts. So
yeah,
it was a weird.
Every team was like that.
Yeah.
Okay, but still, we're used to losing guys and going, shoot, I hope he doesn't come back and bite us in the ass. We don't have to worry about this here. I didn't even know who the guys they cut. I didn't even know.
I haven't been following this as closely as I should, but do we have a kicker?
The kickers, those two, with that they cut. They're the only names you knew.
Do we have a
linebacker?
They'll bring back Nick Folk. I think on the practice.
So, but let's unpack that a little bit, Joe, because I think you're probably right. The strength of the team offensively is their offensive line, and their ability to run the ball. And it happens that they've got a quarterback who can run it, and they've got competent, running backs who can run it.
Harris out for a month, right?
Yeah, but they'll ride Sony Michel for 3 weeks, and he'll come down with a foot injury after 3 weeks, and Harris will probably slide back in there. I just expect kind of smash mouth football and throwing off the run. I don't know how you feel, Joe, but it's clear at offense that's what they have to do.
Well, it's not gonna be Tom Brady's offense again. We're gonna have to do a whole new thing, and I just think they've got an awful tough schedule, and Belichick always builds a team for schedule. And he's kind of thrown up his hands and said, we'll just take this year off.
I think unless N'Keal Harry emerges as a superstar, it's going to be a long year.
I'm less worried about the offense. The defense has me worried. You got Gilmore, some, over the hill McCourty guys, and the cornerback's all right, but the safeties are just as bad, if not worse, than last year. The linebackers are atrocious. They got no defensive linemen, just tackles.
Wait a second.
It could be really problematic.
Last year we were talking about this defense as being one of the greatest in history.
Yeah, I think you're being.
But then they fell apart after game 8.
Joe, I think the depth in the defensive line is definitely questionable. I mean, I think the cornerbacks and safeties are a really strong group, and we'll see guys like Josh Uche. Is that how you say his last name?
Uche. He's just a middle linebacker. He's a Landon Roberts, Brandon Spikes type guy, first and second down only.
Well, no. I thought he's a pass rusher guy. He's going to be guy.
Move. I don't think he's going to play move. I think they're going to have one in the middle.
Is there a fullback? There a fullback on the roster this year?
Two of them.
Yeah. Jacob Johnson is there, and who's the other guy?
But they moved the tight end.
Guy that made the team.
Did they move the tight end? They drafted to fullback.
No, not yet. They got the guy Jennings from Alabama, a linebacker. Is he just another Bentley, or can we expect more?
I don't know. Juwan Bentley's like a captain.
I know.
Juwan, Juwan. I know he seemed like he doesn't know what he's doing out there, but now he's matured quite a bit over this last offseason.
So my question is, after Joe has just stripped the bark off of this team, when we get to predictions, is he going to say 12 wins again?
I've been an 11-5 guy.
Joe says 12 wins every year. It's like clock. You could set your watch by it. The sun goes up, the sun goes down, and Joe says 12 wins for the Patriots.
Russ, what could make it for them this year is this is such an odd year. I think organization and coaching will be more at a premium this year than in normal years because of just how everything's crazy. Right. And I think just having their organization, their coach, and having Belichick, that's good for 3-4 wins right there.
Well, we know
Timmy, everyone else.
We know, Timmy, these are going to be ugly games, at least the first 6 games of the season. It's going to be low scoring because the offenses definitely take a time before they get going, and no exhibition games sure doesn't help.
Well, going back to Joe's point, the coaching's going to be gigantic, Low scoring, most likely. I think we're going to see a lot of mistakes, a lot of blown routes by the offense, a lot of miscommunication.
A lot of penalties, which is going to just drag the game down, right? It's going to be ugly. It's not going to be much more than the XFL right now, to be honest with you.
Obviously, if we
kind of above that, maybe.
But not much more, Joe.
I agree.
If we still had a certain quarterback here, I think would be at the gigantic advantage because he would know exactly everything going in already.
It feels
would
like
be a big advantage. Yes.
I don't want to be as dramatic and say this feels like with the wide receiving core feels like the same plan that Hein Bloom had as far as the starting pitching, where all of a sudden the season starts and you're like, holy shit!
Yeah,
it is reminiscent.
We all see it. I mean, this is going to, like I said, unless N'Keal Harry just blossoms into some incredible superstar this year, it's going to be a horror show to watch him trying to find somebody open to throw it to.
There's no one over 5'6", I think, other than N'Keal Harry.
Yeah, Russ.
They're all little guys.
Russ, you know the difference between a superstar wide receiver and just another guy. It's a huge gap, maybe the greatest gap other than quarterback in football?
It's not only a huge gap, it's a persistent gap. I mean, Bill can't do, now we're at the point where he can't even trade for a receiver. He traded a 2nd-round pick for Mohamed Sanu, who he had to cut. So we just are chronically understaffed when it comes to wide receivers, and it's going to be rough this year. I'm not arguing.
It might improve, Russ. Remember, Brady was very picky, and he threw out a lot of there's a lot of receivers that Brady threw out that's still making a living in the NFL.
Yeah. This draft class was loaded with receivers too. That 2nd-round pick would have been nice. We could have picked up a half decent guy in the draft this year.
Okay,
it was like they knew Chung wasn't going to be there.
Okay, boys, before we get to the season predictions, let's predict the game. I'm predicting Dolphins lose to the New England Patriots 13-10. The Patriots win in a very ugly game in front of no one.
Mm-hmm.
How about a bunch of field goals?
What do you got? All right, Rusty, what do you got?
I got 23-14 Patriots.
Cam Newton, the star?
He will rush for a touchdown. Yeah, I think Bill's I think he and Josh are gonna get a little bit creative about the use of you, because when you have a quarterback who rushes like that, you got an extra guy in the field. Basically, you're playing against.
That's right. You're playing 11 on 11 instead of when you hand off 10 on 11.
Yeah.
All right, Joe, predictions.
I'm going to go along with Russ with a little more scoring than you have, and I'll go with 24-19 Patriots, and throw in a Cam rushing for a 2-point conversion in there.
Oh, there you go. All right, Timmy boy.
The Patriots losing 17-10. I think this offense is just completely incompetent. I think they're going to run the wrong routes. I think Cam Newton's going to look lost out there. I think anyone who's expecting him to run like he did when he was the MVP of the league is out of their mind. I think this season's going to be a horror show.
So Ryan Fitzpatrick, Harvard's own Ryan Fitzpatrick, was the reason that I think we got eliminated last year, because we lost that game against the Dolphins, and he's going to be the starting quarterback again. Oh, I can't take another Ryan Fitzpatrick loss. All right, we're going to go predictions for the season. I'm going to make it 2-part. The first 4-game prediction and then the whole season. I think the Patriots go 1-3 early on and finish 9-7. Rusty boy.
10-6, and but I will agree they'll start slowly. But I just think in this division and with our coaching advantage that Joe pointed out, he will. It's a weird year, and in a weird year, I'd bank on coaching.
Timmy.
They start 1-3. They end the season 8-8.
And do not make the playoffs then.
Not make the playoffs. I think it's going to be a long season, boys.
Yo.
Long, painful.
I hope this is the start of another Timmy reverse jinx.
I know, right? He's
I'll go with the 500 in the first 4, and I think they could maybe, let's say 9-7, but win the division with that.
Well, if my football picks are anything like my stock market picks, they're going to go undefeated.
I've never seen Timmy so angry saying 8-8. He's so
spit it out.
All right, we have to talk about him. He's the elephant in the room the last 20 years. Tom Brady, how does Tom Brady do? Does he stay healthy, boys? Which I predict he will not. And how does the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with Tom Brady and Gronkowski and the Leonard Fournette of all people? Do you expect a big season from Tommy boy?
I actually do. Bruce Arians famously resuscitated Carson Palmer's career in Arizona, and Palmer very late in his career had a couple of pretty big years, and I think that's set up for Brady to do well, and getting healthy, staying healthy, getting hurt. It's a crapshoot, but if he stays healthy, I think he's going to have a pretty big year under Aaron.
What do you think? Prediction for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, as we always do every year. We always predict the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah, 11-5.
11-5. Timmy.
I'll go with 11-5, and I think Brady hasn't had a set of receivers to throw to like this since he had Hernandez, Gronk, and the rest of the crew out there. I think he's gonna shine down there.
Wow, Joe.
I'll go.
Truth, Joe.
But isn't it nice that we get that? We have the 1 o'clock game, and then the 4:30 game will be the Bucks against the Saints.
I think they did that a lot this year. Did they plan that a lot? I think we get to see a lot of live Buccaneers games.
Well, they haven't had 4:30 games in years.
Yeah, right.
But being on the East Coast, but I'll be a little more tempered. I think that's a pretty good division. It's not the AFC East for Brady anymore. I'll go 10-6, and I think they're a wild card, not the division winner.
Tommy gets hurt in the first 6 games, and then we don't give a shit what the hell the Buccaneers are doing after that.
Like Gronk's the 5th choice as a receiver down there. I mean, that's got to be pretty good.
First choice in the 4th quarter, though, I bet.
Yeah, Gronk will be on the IR by game 4, and he'll be just back at Dancing with the Stars or whatever he plans to do next, and be collecting a nice salary from the Buccaneers. All right, we got to do it. Super Bowl predictions, because before the season starts, I mean, we have to do it. Rassi, who's going to the Super Bowl, and who's winning?
I'm going to say Kansas City and Dallas.
Wow.
Go to the Super Bowl, and I'm picking Kansas City to go back-to-back.
Wow. Timmy.
I would have to go along with Russ. I think it's Kansas City. I mean, they look great. This Mahomes is going to get nothing but better. Good coach. I can't see why they wouldn't win it.
Joe.
Barring injury, it'll be KC again, barring Mahomes' injury. But I think Drew Brees will have a little something in the tank, and the NFL will help him along a little in his swan song here, and they'll make it for the big game.
Boys, the answer is as clear as anyone's face, as Jimmy G's face. It's Kansas City back against the San Francisco 49ers. Jimmy G returns and avenges his horrible pass in the 4th quarter. Jimmy G goes to his rightful ownership and the Mount Rushmore of NFL quarterbacks, wins an NFL title that he should have done last year. The San Francisco 49ers will win.
You are so
just engagement will be official. Scott Cameron will be wedding Jimmy G.
No.
They announced the bands at Mass this week.
You just can't quit Jimmy, can you? You try to quit Jimmy and
can't quit him.
I told you, boys, a couple years ago, if they ever got rid of Jimmy G, that we'd be haunted for 10 years. So I'm going to haunt you 3 for 10 years about Jimmy G.
Jimmy G already gets more commercial time than Tom Brady now.
He's
got about 3 national commercials running.
Yeah, he's far less boring than Tommy B. All right, we go to the pathetic and pitiful Boston Red Sox. We have to do it, and we have to talk about Joe's best friend, Andrew Benintendi, who officially is out for the season. Is that the last time Andrew Benny is going to be in a Red Sox uniform, Joe?
Unfortunately, no, because he has the trade value of an old mop right now, and that's why we'll see him back. He's worth more to the Red Sox than he will be to anyone else right now.
You know what's amazing?
We're kind of stuck with him.
They were calling it the greatest outfield in baseball 2 years ago. Am I right?
Right.
Yeah.
One of the greatest outfield. Yeah.
Right. I mean, JBJ's on the trash heap, looking to move on. If they didn't move him on, Benintendi's become, like Joe said, a used mop, and Betts is
gone.
How quick it changes.
Russ, I can't believe I would ask you this question, but who would you take right now in the outfield, JBJ or Benintendi?
Oh, jeez. I would take JBJ because he's streaky as anything, but at least he plays and he plays hard.
Right.
I mean, Benintendi's his career's just fizzled.
Yeah, right.
He likes what he's doing now. He's happy right where he is. I don't see any motivation to get him to do any more.
This is what I worry about Devers, and you worry about any professional athlete that in his prime, in his mid-20s, comes back after an off-season heavy and gained weight. All of a sudden, that's a huge indicator where the hell this guy's headed. And he did that a couple of years ago. He came back looking like a pear-shaped outfielder, and he hasn't recovered since.
This whole bulking up, you're not supposed to bulk up as a baseball player. It just doesn't work. It doesn't work.
Scott, I know you hate to hear this, but all signs point to us begging Alex Cora to come back and take care of Devers and Benintendi and get them back on the right track.
Yep.
No, I understand that, and it looks like this was all a master plan putting Renicky in there. He was a sacrificial lamb this season.
Oh yeah, right from the start.
He'll go back to be a bench coach. I think you're right, Joe. Yep. Alex Cora is going to be the manager of the Red Sox. They may go through some dog and pony show trying to act like they, looking around, but he'll end up being the guy, right?
Actually, my take is I think we've never heard this on this show before, but I actually think Jason Varitek's going to be.
Oh my God! I wasn't even going to say it.
I actually think it's Jason Varitek. You guys haven't heard that rumor?
Oh my God.
I wouldn't be opposed to it. I wouldn't be opposed to giving him a shot.
I will be right. I will be right on this.
Oh no, you're not getting any of that love.
Talking about gaining weight, Jason Varitek's put a few pounds on.
Oh, I know.
That's from Dante's Pizzeria.
Yeah. Like he's been hanging out with Devers at the dining room table there.
Yeah, right. Just so you know, we're obsessed Red Sox fans. After this season, there's going to be guys that they're going to mention as the years go on. You may meet them. You may end up selling them cleaning supplies to me that are going to end up having pitched for the Red Sox this year. And you're like, no fucking way. You pitched for the Red Sox? They've had like 30 starting pitchers right now. It's something extraordinary. Guys I have never heard of are pitching the whole 3-game series.
Yeah, if a tree falls in the forest, doesn't make a sound. We don't know if these guys pitched or not. Right. They have like a cumulative 7 ERA.
We have seen this coming when they hired Bloom. This is how he operates. I mean, he's a low budget guy. I mean, this is just how he operates. I am dying to see what happens when the big free agents are out there and how the Red Sox respond.
Yep. The most important decision right now is what Rob Manfred makes, Russ, right now, to see the draft position. Are we tanking for a purpose, or has this become a joke where they combine both last season and this season, and then we get screwed, and then we get like the 10th pick in the draft?
I hope he goes with it, because if it's good enough to determine the winners, why shouldn't it be good enough to determine the losers, right?
Right, absolutely, right? Yeah, absolutely.
How many wins are we up to right now for the Red Sox?
What's that?
How many wins do the Red Sox have right now?
I don't know. They have like 15 or 16.
Yeah, I think it's
we're not going to make you at 24.
They're tied for the worst record in baseball when I last checked. Our Boston Red Sox 2 years ago had the greatest season in the history of Boston Red Sox, one of the greatest in Major League Baseball history, and now they're one of the worst teams in the history of.
Right back to Tim's point, 2 years ago, greatest outfield in baseball. Now nothing.
Now it's literally a shit show. Well, that went quick. I hope you guys have a fun time watching the Celtics tonight, and they get to a victory, and we'll have an enjoyable time talking next.
They're winning 15-13 right now.
Oh, there you go. All right. Well, it's already decided then. So
17-13.
Want to thank the boys. Want to thank everyone behind the scenes. Of course, Corbin. Of course, the lovely and talented Adrian. Please check us out on our website at thegrandstanders.com and tune in again next Wednesday night at 6:30 for another edition of Grandstanders Live. I'm your host, Scott Kerman. Have a great and happy night.